Welcome back, everybody, for match 3 of PCS 1 APAC. 2 games in the book. Cute Confirm, of course, are still leading in first place. Carnage took out match 2, though, representing Oceania, picking up the first chicken dinner for the region in a very, very long time. Jordan, as we head into match 3, our final game of Erangel, what's something that you want to see here that we haven't maybe gotten so far?
Oh, well, I mean, I can think of a few things. I'm just looking at my stat sheets and I'm just wondering how BM I should be. You know, there's a couple of teams here that are sitting on about an average of 1 to 1.5 kills a game. So I could say I might like to see some frags from those teams.
Yeah.
Placement points as well for Carnage and VTR so far have been... Look, obviously Carnage just won the last game, so credit for that, but few and far between aside from our previous game. Probably going to see more of the same, though, which is Q Confirm. Xenox, they're sitting at an average of 8 kills a game at this point, which is absolute insanity. We head into our third game of Erangel, our final game of Erangel tonight, and I don't see any reason why that's going to change. No one else is stepping up as much as they are.
Yeah, averaging 8 kills, and thanks to your lovely, lovely stat / note taking, they're also averaging a position of 4.6. Which is insane. The next best team is Golden Cat at 5.3. So it shows stats-wise the story really there, doesn't it? And from then, Cerberus, of course, in third, which, of course, if you look at the standings on the left, well, first, second, and third, Bureau Ramp starting to fall away from that little pack. I'd say for Cerberus and Golden Cat, I just want to put it out there like immediately, Jordan. They're by no means without any chance of winning first place. Like, they're only 30 points. 30 points behind 13 games, including this still to be played, is kind of nothing, really. Ooh. But if you are Bureau Ramp, Maogi, Divine, Astra, MSC, Fury, those teams that are in the 30s that are now like 60 points behind, you've got to start making inroads on catching up. Whether that be by you getting like 10, 15-point games and QC start to get nothing, or if QC get like 5 points, you've got to at least get 10 to 15.
100%, and I agree with you. And there's going to be a few teams like Cerberus that will probably be pretty happy to see where that circle shift has gone down toward the southwestern side. Maybe Carnage has a bit of a better chance again in this one because they'll be one of the first teams that can rotate. I can already see Cerberus and Day Trader on the move, headed in the direction of Quarry. Astra dropped all the way up to the north, up near Severny. And so they'll have a little bit of work to do again on their rotation, similar to what happened in the previous game for them, coming through from Mill to Power. So it seems like the circle is just not going to be favoring them at all tonight. But definitely a couple teams that'll be happy to see this one. Again, you know, you can't really get a bad circle, though, if you're a Q Confirm here. They drop in Pachinki. You're very rarely going to be screwed over by the circle at any point, unless maybe it goes to Sosnovka Island and you're late to rotate. But in reality, I think Q Confirm will be pretty happy to see where this one's gone as well. So we're off to a pretty good start for quite a few of our top teams. Q Confirm, Cerberus. Have to wait and see what Golden Cat is going to be able to do. Obviously, they do have to rotate past Q Confirm, which could ultimately be a problem if they go late. But even still, you know, this early on in the game, it is Circle 1. You shouldn't be seeing anything too chaotic just yet.
No, I agree with that. Looking at what's been up on the screen for a little bit of time, the top 3 rankings in terms of just Jowman in first place, Jay is in third, QC are just dominating everything. That's the total rankings with the kill rankings. And I've got to say, I think between PCS Charity Showdown and now PCS 1 APAC, without a doubt, my own opinion, Jowman's got to be up there for one of the best players. You know, there was a lot of talk coming into this, Yoshi Minburi. Of course, Duckmans didn't qualify, and there's a lot of talent from these regions, Thailand, Vietnam, for instance. But Jowman's probably leading the way for me right now, personally, Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think across the board, there's a few names that you definitely want to talk about, and one of them that we did mention in a previous game was Jayas, right? For Q Confirm, it was the Jowman and Gems show in Charity Showdown, but Jayas certainly having stepped up here for Q Confirm so far in PCS Series 1. Heisaki as well is putting in a solid performance for Cerberus. And I guess for the moment, you know, it's just a case of making sure they can do it consistently. We're still not quite toward the end of things. We're not even at the halfway point just yet. So words are wins, Xenox. You know, we can say all these really nice things about teams and players and what have you, but if you get to the 10-game point and then you let the ball drop, those words can very, very quickly change to negative, you know, negative discussions or positive discussions about other teams and all of a sudden you start to wonder what on earth happened to Q Confirm. At the moment, no questions of that department just yet, but could be heading there if they let the ball slip.
Touching on Cerberus, though, since we kind of touched on it very briefly. By the way, Linksy 800 DPI joining the Xenox and Elfish crew, which is
800
nice.
DPI gang, let's go.
Yep. Rise up. Cerberus, though, second place compared to Charity Showdown, where I really think they probably let themselves down more than anything in Charity Showdown. There was a lot of expectations for them to be a team that would be thereabouts for winning that event. And I think in the end, they were like in the bottom half of the standings. Like, it just did not go well for them. They've definitely shown their mettle here for PCS1 APAC. Second place, only 1 point above Golden Cap, but that's a very solid top three. Those three teams all performed in Charity Showdown except for Cerberus. So I think Cerberus have sort of just rightfully retaken their throne, at least within the top three. They're still competing against QC. So I'm very happy to have seen that. And for Buriram in fourth, right now, this has been a very, very stable tournament in terms of the teams we expected to do well. They're all doing well.
Well, what do you think is the reason for the inconsistency then for a team like Cerberus? You know, I had a look. They were 12th place in Charity Showdown Xenox. And I know you were recently doing some videos with a few of the pros. I think it was the one you did with Linksy where you spoke to him. And I believe the discussion was along the lines of like, why is there this sort of inconsistency within the APAC region? And is it just a case that their sort of play style, their sort of more aggressive play style, this sort of meta does lend itself to big tournaments and big games, but it also lends itself to, if things aren't going your way, having really poor tournaments?
Yeah, I think there's that, but there's also the other fact that the teams within the Asia Pacific region do actually play a lot of tournaments. Not so much Oceania, but more so Thailand, Vietnam. There's a lot of also very regional tournaments that are being played. So when you're playing a lot of tournaments, that does increase the likelihood that you're going to slip up every now and then. So I think that's one part of it, to be fair to these teams. I think the other one is, as you mentioned, though, is also play style. So sometimes if you are too aggressive, you can have a poor tournament. You know, you look at the way that Q Confirm play, they're just amazing to watch. They're so synergized as a team. When they push as four. They're aggressive, but not in an uncontrollable fashion. There are some teams that at times can play aggressive or like the way that Divine play every now and then. You know, we actually saw it in that last game, if I remember correctly, where they pushed on. They got obliterated in that push when they were trying to breach a compound. That sort of aggressive playstyle sometimes works, sometimes doesn't, and then therefore you can in fact have up and down tournaments. Buriram are known apparently to be aggressive coming into this. I don't know if they've been that aggressive though here in this tournament.
Speaking of Buriram, it's quite interesting the rotation that they're going to be making. They're opting to go down onto Sosnovka Island, which admittedly is still in the circle, although every team apart from Buriram is on the northern side, on the mainland. Obviously, assuming that this circle is going to go north. But it's quite a long rotation here for Buriram, and it'll be an interesting one if things don't go their way, if it shifts quite hard north up toward Gak or something like that. Especially with a couple of teams like Fury and Cerberus hanging around by the petrol station across the bridge. So Buriram could definitely have a tough rotate here if they run into the wrong timings. To touch on your point as well about the aggression, I don't know that Buriram necessarily have been overly aggressive either in this competition thus far, but they maybe aren't having the games that they want to, so they're probably taking things a little bit easier. Like it's quite a lot easier to be aggressive when you're in the position that Q Confirm is versus the position that Buriram is, because you think as Buriram, okay, if we have one bad game, just means that we have to catch so much further up. But for Q Confirm, it's like, well, if we have one bad game, probably still going to be in first place.
Definitely agree with that. So we've got the map up on our screen. Phase 2. South again? No. It'll be the South Gakka Fields, though. Daytrade going to get a pretty good circle here for the time being, of course. Carnage over at Quarry, not actually all that bad for them. They will have to do a bit more work than they did in Match 2, where, of course, they were the recipients of quite a few circles, probably about good 6 or 7 circles in their time south of Hospital. MSC, another team that can kind of flex their muscles when everything's going well. Yoshi Benburi hasn't had the tournament he would have liked. There's always a lot of topical conversations around here. And there's another pick and challenge code for those maybe just listening. It'll be quick to get them though. They do run out pretty fast.
Indeed, I've heard a few people complaining that they haven't been able to get them quickly enough, but you know, you got to have those quick fingers. You know, it's good prac for when you're in the game as well, reaction times, all those sorts of things. Cerberus Esports have Divine right in front of them, and this is, oh, that's not where you want to be stopping at all. Ghoul will start the occasion. Nancy down early. He takes the first contact. There's a crossfire here, though, for Cerberus, and I cannot imagine this is going to go well for Divine at all. Grenade thrown in from Ghoul as well.
Ghoul knocked down, finishes off Levi's. Nam's going to be finished off too by Hasaki. Cerberus continue their very newfound form here for PCS 1 APAC compared to J&D Showdown. Divine at least gets Hasaki. It's a Nikki. And unfortunately, though, was surrounded by the remaining forces of Cerberus Esports. They'll get all 4 kills against Divine. And Fury, unfortunately, in a spot of bother, most notably Waikika Mukau, he had it from both sides. Edu, the elimination. Taking shots back, though, from Juxi, and I don't think he realized where Juxi was firing from. It was just kind of waddling around without much of an idea. There's going to be the smoke thrown in his location. Insight was also eliminated at the tree by God Meow. And I've got to say, Jordan, Fury Australia have been quite disappointing here on day number 2 for PCS 1 APAC compared to their day 1 performances.
I don't know what actually ended up happening there for Fury. I think it might have even been a case of just really bad timing, because I think Fury might have been getting ready to just rotate out right as Buriram starts driving over the bridge, because Waikika Mukau was in that UAZ and he sort of got in or got out or whatever, but he just sort of seemed to get stuck there, and Buriram kind of knocked him over pretty quick. So I'm not sure what the situation there was with the timing for Fury, but it didn't look very good for them at all. Either way, Fury will lose 2, Buriram will lose none. And what I was talking about when they were rotating down south was whether or not they were going to be able to get over the bridge. They've been able to do that, and they've been able to get a couple of points out of it as well. So that's gone better than expected, to be quite honest, for Buriram.
Oh, yeah. I mean, really, Fury should be doing better in that position. The fact that Buriram came into their spot around that lighthouse region, and Buriram kind of just came in and as they flexed their muscles, really, and said, this is our spot now. Rocky Esports has got Eagle Sentinel Shooter to deal with. Jexi's quite far away from Jet's position, but Man's up close in the UAZ. Now, as soon as he hears this, Jet's might just going to peek over and go for the spray. Does land quite a few. Jexi, though, was covering, and that's what an anchor should do, covering from that Overwatch position. Eagle Sentinel Shooter, one of the disappointing teams, in fact, last place, Jordan, so I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, rough position for them, but maybe they can make something happen here. Oggy gonna have to pick that res back on up. Jet will be okay by the looks of things. We see the circle shift has gone right over the top of Quarry, and look who's there again.
Carnage.
Carnage going for the 2 from 2 Xenox.
Yeah, look, I mean, sometimes when it's your night, it's your night. It might not just be one game, it could be a couple of games. Carnage are going to bring their luck from match 2 over to match 3 for now.
I would say MSC look like they've got a better position than Carnage right now, but hey, better than nothing.
MSC, though, are probably in a position where they're more breachable than Carnage's position over at Quarry.
Yeah.
See how it plays out. We are only into phase 3, so things can change. But if it does keep shifting in a Western matter, then Carnage are going to get fed again, as they did in match 2, maybe here in match 3. I wonder if this time they maybe do you come out of your shells a little bit, try and find some kills, try and be aggressive, use that luck a bit more than they did in match number 2. You're off the bottom now. You've gotten your initial placement points. You've gotten kills. You're on 21 points. You have another game like they did in that last game, and all of a sudden they would actually skyrocket to around that 10th position, Jordan. There's Golden Cat moving over to the hill at Bahumat Gaming, currently occupied. They're going to send it straight up. Although 6ax does get out of his vehicle. Look at the high ground that Shin Ryuji has for Bahumat Gaming. Mr. Chan up close. This push from Golden Cat, not ideal, yet they've still found 2 knockdowns, making a 3rd one. I don't know how they managed this. What? Maximus somehow got up and in their faces, they didn't even realize that he can get the revive into Tonke. Maybe. DIC may finish him off, and they do. Anquan still. Bahumat's got to win those in a clean manner, almost at least having 3 alive, Jordan. That's not good.
Yeah, definitely not great for Golden Cat. At least they're able to get some points out of it. But it's going to be a big opportunity for Cerberus to pull ahead and Buriram to catch up. Q Confirm, of course, on the rotation in. They're a team that's also looking to continue pushing ahead as well. Maximus is not having a good time, and if he runs into these Q Confirm fellas on the rotation in, that's just going to get even worse for him. So he's going to play it quite idle. And oh dear, they've pulled up as well, Xenox. I mean, what do you even do here? The grenade's been thrown into his direction as well? Do they know that he's here?
The timing, all of it as well, is if QC had have arrived maybe a minute ago, they would have been sort of in the crossfire. They would have maybe had to find a different location. This is a nice hill to take. It is breachable in a sense that it's very easy to drive up. We saw that from Golden Cat. But you should be able to defend it a lot better than Bahamut Gaming were able to do. Maxidus is going to get out of this, though. I mean, Q Confirm don't want to hang around in that current position. BRC have got an ankle. There's the Eagle Sentinel Shooter going on down towards Malgi Esport. Jet has to reload the M416. He's got 40 ammo, the extended magazine. Now peeks back. Knock 10, almost providing movable cover
I love that.
for the rest of his team. The Molotovs are going to at least clear this entryway so that there's no one standing on either side, left or right of this beams. As Jexy and Entry Fragger, I think, are about to be flushed out. So it's Vandal running around on fire, quite literally. This is not good.
That was my interpretation of probably what he sounded like.
Please don't do that ever again.
Anyway, circle shift is actually quite an interesting one. Hard shift down towards the southeast. So MSC in a good spot. Day Trade Gaming in a good spot. Gearbox as well. And Boomerang probably pretty happy there too. Keep an eye on how this goes for Mogi Esports. If they can get away with a clean wipe here, they're in a pretty decent position to start walking into the circle as well. But they'll have to deal with Carnage, who's on the other side. It's a three-way engagement right now.
Well, there's a joke in there somewhere for those with dirty minds. Okay, esports, I think from here, though, Jordan, have this one pretty much wrapped up. It's a matter of time more than anything. It's not really... I mean, really, the best thing that the Eagle Sentinel Shooter can probably do is just get lucky, run out one side, and just collapse in from the other side on Maogi, catch them off guard a bit.
You never know. Like, if Astra keeps coming in this direction, they might end up seeing Maogi if they rotate further down to the west. So they can just wait and see what happens. Q Confirm and Astra, though, getting into an engagement, and that's probably not what you want to be seeing if you're Astra.
I don't know if anyone wants to be seeing Q Confirmed close by on their radar in front of them, but at the very least for Astra, they're in a position where they can take this fight on a relatively even playing field. It's not like they're desperate with the blue at their back. It's not like Q Confirm have got a compound. Linksy up close with the barrel, always going to be able to get that elimination. Jay has taken out pretty comfortably. 3 versus 4. This would be a big statement if Astra can wipe out QC. Everyone in the lobby would be rooting for them. There's no doubt about that. There is at least 14 teams that are on the side of Astra right now. Extreme's knocked down by Spit. Pushing in from behind as well is also Victim Rise. They're going to be pushing in, though, from QC's direction, but never mind. Because of their current direction, all they see is Astra. My God, that was quick. They may even just be able to get the revive onto Gems, which then in a 3 versus 4, I kind of back in QC. We'll see if Victim Rise continue the push, though. Svit standing up. Gems going to be flushed with a nade. So 2 up for QC. They've already picked up a couple of kills this game as we go back down to the warehouse. Eagle Sentinel Shooter did, in fact, get out of this warehouse. Jet Gakon eliminated. Knock Tan and top 1-7. What? They just run straight back in. It's like they did a quick snatch and grab. They walked out, got 2 kills, walked back in as Jexy heals. Vandal's trying to cover. He was covering the wrong side, but now it's the right side as Lockdown's eliminated. What have you done? Mogi Esports have bolstered up here. Top 1-7 is the only one standing. Nice knockdown onto Jexy. 23 health as Vandal runs around, does finish him off. An Eagle Sentinel Shooter come up in the end, Jordan, where I didn't think they would have it in them.
I don't know what on earth ended up happening there for Mogi Esports, but I have to imagine there was some failure of communication because it was just one by one going in and out and all sort of individual plays, and they kind of cooked it. Jowman doing anything but cooking it, and VTR will lose Seymour. Another kill going into the back pocket of Q Confirm as they pass the 100-point mark. They're the first one into 3 figures. See where this next circle ends up, Xenox. Right on top of MSC, Day Trade, and Gearbox again.
Carnage. Just wiped out Eagle Sentinel Shooter. They were watching that warehouse for quite a while. 74L1, nice, easy elimination onto Camels, who had no idea that he was just to his left. This is a really good flank from 74L1, using the blue, hugging it, riding it as they wipe out Victim Rise. With a bit of help from Monty, he got Chiba. 9 teams remain. Carnage are going to be able to sort of shoot up the leaderboard this game again, as they did in match 2. Match 3 is looking in a very similar fashion. The
Straight your eyes
difference
up.
this time is they're not going to get the complete hard feed. They have to push out. They have to be the ones now pushing onto the likes of DIC and MSC. And to be fair, those two teams haven't really been sort of lighting this tournament on fire.
For sure. And what's great to see for Carnage is that they actually have 4 players alive in the mid game. They've consistently been losing players early. Nordra will be okay. That grenade's not going to hit him. He's inside the building. Odd Meow, though, tries to get aggressive, and he is dealt with by Chin. Finished off as well. So Boomerang go down to 3 as they try to challenge the Gearbox fellas, and it hasn't worked out too well. Y8 still hasn't given away his position, and if he gets the timing right, which he kind of did, he didn't get the spray right, though, and Nordra punishes him for it.
Good positioning from Nordra, being able to cover Canaxi. They get Y8, which is the very important flank for Gearbox. They've still got 3 alive, but Chin just inside this building. Are they going to get any help from Jun, who's a bit further back? Nordra's insane. He gets the knockdown. Pushing into the front door with a nade. Chin's taken very, very low. Now Canoxy pushes in. There's John running in actually from back behind this building. Has he come in to save the day? No. He's come in and done nothing. Buriram United Esports just sort of kick up a gear into 4th gear, and they get 6 kills. But that sort of breach, Jordan, that sort of aggressive style, that's what we expect to see from Buriram United.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's given them one of the better positions in the current circle. Whether it's going to help them too much further on, I'm not so sure. We'll check back in with Carnage. They've lost Bryn in the meanwhile, and they're in a pretty rough spot. They don't have that much cover. They're going to get in the DARS here and try and make it work. I don't know if it's lost any time. They didn't quite catch it. They're going to try and rotate across. So too is Nordra in the sightline of Jukesy, who for some I don't even know how he's still alive, but he's managed to make it there, and he's doing okay for himself in the placement points, which is good to see for Fury. So they're getting something on the board out of this game. Carnage needs to get into some hard cover, though.
This has definitely been one of the more chaotic games that we've had for PCS1 APAC so far. Just everything happening everywhere, really, for the last 5, 6, 7 minutes. But for the first time in what feels like forever, QC not really a part of it. They trade up north, MSC up north, and we get a relatively central circle. But for the most part, Buriram don't really get anything out of this. They're going to have to push across the road.
Look at DIC.
They'll have Cerberus to contend with, and DIC now pushing it up north will push into the compound. I would say they're probably more likely to fight Carnage than MSC here, DIC.
Well, we'll see how it all ends up.
Yoshi Minburi.
He's just deleted Monty, and Carnage is going to have to go back around the corner, which might actually be, in the end, their saving grace. B2's knocked down as well.
That's insane.
Is he going to get another one here? B2 does just go a little bit too deep. D-Rain has just booked it, but he's got nowhere to go. Where's Cerberus?
Obliterated.
3 shots.
They've capitulated. To be fair, that was an amazing nade. Timed to perfection, exploded mid-air right on top of B2's head. There's DIC pushing him from the other side. But because MSC was so quick in dispatching Carnage, now at least they only have to worry about one team here. Yanku, the nade. Well, that's pretty good. That's a lot of damage done. Coinciding with that Molotov, kind of splitting them off. Anquan stuck on one side. And 74R1 and CVD going to heal up. MSC have got a lot of utility. They haven't done a whole lot of fighting in this game. And it feels like they're a bit of a sleeping giant ready to be awoken, especially from Yoshi Minburi. This might be their game, but he does get knocked down by Anquan, who was pushed up onto the concrete wall far left side. There's a nice knockdown onto Rossetta Jr. as well from 74R1. DIC from outside the compound, playing this very well, playing very patiently. And MSC falling by the wayside.
Yeah, JJ Leo pushing on in. He was the one that's already inside the compound and starts to be joined by his teammates. It's Ilonix that'll hold down the warehouse. Rosita Jr. is going to be finished off. That'll be by JJ Leo in the end, although Rain tried to steal it. In all of this chaos, Rain has actually gotten himself into the circle. So he's done that at least. There's benefit for Carnage out of the insanity that has come to pass in the last couple of minutes. Yanku and Ilonix will try to just slow things down. But DIC are going to try and breach them, surely. They're just taking their time. Breaching as 4 is what they want to be doing. Stimming up, healing up. Here we go. DIC on the move.
Ilonix with the initial knockdown onto JJ Leo. CVD gets one in front. Nice headshot onto Yanku as well. 74-1 is actually the last one standing for DIC. I think there's just one each for both sides. MSC are eliminated. And that means DIC should be able to get these revived.
This is good for Veronica. Look at this.
Yeah, go.
I mean, he's moved across. They need to be doing something like this. Daytrade can win this game if they can take control of this warehouse, but they slowed down. I like that they're taking control of the circle, but maybe they're just not advancing far enough. They know there was a huge engagement over there. They must have been seeing that on the kill feed, but they haven't pushed the issue perhaps as much as they could have. We'll see whether or not it comes back and bites them in the bum. Rain is still sitting around in that compound as well, and that circle shift is favorable enough for Carnage that he can continue to slug away and look for placement points.
Nice tag from Subang. Said Rain doesn't have to move. The teams up north are going to get the circle here for phase 7. So for Cerberus and Buriram, it's basically the fight that has to begin now. One of these two teams will move forward going into the next circle. Buriram, I'm going to lose Edie immediately. Zagul. Subang now just trying to make the run across. There are some shots from Daytrade, though. They are taking a few pot shots towards these two teams. Nordra going for the revive as Basil starts to push up very close by. Canaxi just repositioning to try and get at least a refrag if needed. Oh, nice peek from Nordra, though. He's been insane this game. Ghoul's knocked down, eliminated. That was from Flash. And in an instant, Cerberus are down to 1. Subang, Buriram are going to come out on top in this exchange.
Subang will just hide away for the moment, but Buriram actually might be able to win the game from here. They have a very, very solid position. They've got a lot of cover to play with, a lot of trees. It's not perfect, but they've dealt with Cerberus. Daytrade is going to have to deal with DIC. Rain also still hanging around, so anything can happen up toward the north, and that's why I say Buriram actually could be in a winning position here.
It seems like they've got no idea, though, that Daytrade have pushed up outside of these walls. 74-1. JJ Leo takes the headshot. He does win the fight, though, against Poochills. Daytrade don't want to mess this one up. Nice nade from Venotica. Throws one into the smoke. Of course, that's Rain. They probably aren't aware that that is a separate player to that of DIC Gaming, suspecting potentially they've still got another one over in that office building. So, unfortunately for Rain, he's not going to be able to just freely do what he pleases. He's been kind of lumped into DIC, although that quick elimination, maybe never mind. Venotica is absolutely certain Rain is in there.
Yeah, they're well aware that there's a player. Rain just needs to try and get himself a kill here, a sort of a one-and-done position. In fact, he might even give up the points to the circle, which is fair enough. He's gotten into the top 3,
He's
so
in.
Well done. Oh, he is.
He's just barely in. But
if he can get the timing.
But Daytrade from here surely going to win this. And never mind, Canaxi gets flash.
So if Rain peeks out at the right time, he can actually cause problems.
He can, but
they're still watching him. But if he takes the timing correctly, if they sort of eventually move away, he can still hear Poochills.
They've got to be second-guessing themselves just a little bit, whether or not there was actually someone in there, whether or not they've really cleaned that out. Now that Flash has been knocked down, mate's just got to go over, help out, Buriram. Now Venotica's moving to. Poochills might stay and just make sure that no one's going to bite them from behind. Of course, there's only 3 teams. That's Carnage, Daytrade. Oh, Poochills actually being super aggressive to try and flush out Rain. This might backfire a bit. Flash still has to be revived. Buriram have got an opportunity to move forward. Poochills does get Rain, Jordan, but at what cost? Now it's only 2 standing for Daytrade.
Yeah, Buriram are on the offensive. They are charging forward. Look at that, Darcia go. Nordra in that, sits behind the tree. He'll finish off Matey. Flash was finished as well by Canaxi, and now just Poochills surviving right now for Daytrade alongside his teammate, Venotica. Things are not looking too ideal.
Well, a reprieve for Buriram, who probably with this sort of circle should have been really gate-kept by Daytrade. In the end, Poochills and Daytrade too concerned with Rain and what he might have been able to do. In the end, it backfired because that meant Buriram were able to push up. They had a fight in their advantage in terms of the numbers. They took advantage of that, got the knockdowns, and now it's a 3 versus 2, kind of like what it was before. Like when Flash pushed over, there was only 1 or 2 members of Daytrade actually here. Canaxi found that original knockdown. Buriram have used all of their utility now to get themselves to this position. Potentially a 13-kill win coming up for them. This will put them into 2nd place. Nordra has just been immense here for match 3 of day 2 and finds the double kill to get them the 13-kill win. Buriram united, making the climb towards first for Thailand.
Well, they needed it, didn't they? They've been sort of lagging a little bit behind the top 3, Buriram, but they're able to get their first win on the board here for PCS APAC Series 1. And 23 points is not a bad one to put up there either. Day Trade also not hugely in the discussion, nor is DIC. And the next highest, or the next one that's sort of up there is Cerberus, right? So these are the teams that Buriram is trying to catch. Cerberus, Q Confirm, they haven't really been able to get too many points out of that, nor has Golden Cat. So this is actually a really, really good game, not only in the context of Buriram getting points on the board, but also importantly, the other top 3 teams not getting those points on the board.
Yeah, exactly right. And for Buriram United, this does feel like it has been a culmination of their last couple of games, Jordan. Not just for today, but also the end of day 1. I know I keep repeating it, but now they find themselves most likely, I mean, it hasn't updated yet, but most likely in a second place position on the standings. Maybe it's third at worst case scenario, but they're in there. They're in there with a chance now. When at one point, again, kind of similar to Charity Showdown, they got off to that slow start. Maybe they're finding their footing here. And this is where you're putting a team, it's putting pressure on Q Confirm. They only got 4 points this game. Buriram, 23. You do that just one more time, and the lead is evaporated. So really, there's so many games still to be played. Every game matters. And teams like Buriram, Cerberus, Golden Cat all still have massive, massive chances. But after that, Jordan, after that top 4, it does drop off quite a bit.
Yeah, a bit of a disappointing day so far for Astra and for Fury. I mean, at least Astra had themselves a decent game number 1 where they got 9 kills and an 8th place. But past that, it's been rough. Game 1 and 2, very rough for Fury. And then game 3, yeah, Jukesy gets them to a 7th place, but only 1 placement point out of that. So for those Aussie teams, things are going downhill. Carnage is going uphill at the moment, though. They had a 1st and then a 3rd there as well. So their fortunes certainly seem to have turned around a little bit, Xenox. I'm not sure it's going to be enough for them to be able to get into a very, very strong position. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. Going to head to a quick break. Don't go too far, though. Miramar coming up after this.